It's Saturday the 5th of March and it's lovely to be with you on our journey again through Isaiah in Lent, and today we're looking at chapter 40 of Isaiah. Two themes for me that jump out when I read this chapter is comfort, God's comfort and God's power. So starting with God's comfort, in my Bible the title of this chapter is Comfort for God's People, and for me at the moment that's really right where I'm at. In my own personal life I have friends, good friends, going through some really hard times. In our community there are people having a hard time. In our country, and of course at the moment with the situation in the Ukraine, all of our thoughts are with the people there. They are having the worst time. And Isaiah 40 speaks to us that God wants to comfort us. He wants to be there for us. And I want to just look at verse 11. Verse 11 says, "He tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms and he carries them close to his heart. He gently leads those that have young." And that to me is such a picture. I can see a shepherd carrying a sheep and holding them closely. And the reason you have to hold a sheep close is because they're very wiggly. You'll find this with most animals. I don't know about you, I don't carry sheep very often, but I have carried dogs a lot, and rabbits. And the trick with dogs and rabbits is that what you need to do is you need to put their feet tucked in against you, okay? And then your arm round the rest of their body, because if you hold them with their legs dangling out, then they feel unsafe and their legs are flapping, and then sometimes they can, particularly rabbits, hop out of your arms and run away. They can be quite wiggly. I would imagine it's the same for sheep. You need to hold them close, make them feel safe. Their feet have got nowhere to go, they're tucked against you. And I really feel that with God, that's what he's talking about in this message. We can be very wiggly, I can be very wiggly with God. And what he's doing is come here, clutching me right in close, keeping me safe, literally holding me, but also holding me in such a way that I can't wiggle free. And that's a beautiful image. And for me at the moment, like I said, that image, I've underlined it in my Bible because that image is really poignant. So if you are having a hard time, or you know someone else having a hard time, pray that they would feel and that you would feel that shepherd hold, that God's comfort in your life and in their life. Maybe share with someone today that you're praying for them, that they would feel that comfort from God. And then the second theme in this passage is one of God's power. And there's whole swathes of amazing descriptive language where God is basically just saying, like, you can't compare me. I'm incomparable. There is no one else like me. In fact, verse 18 says, "With whom then will you compare God?" Because he is just one of a kind. And if we jump back a little bit earlier, verse 12, "Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, or with the breadth of his hand marked off the heavens? Who has held the dust of the earth in a basket, or weighed the mountains on the scales and the hills in a balance?" He's just saying, like, that's me. I marked off the heavens. There's no one else like me. His power that he talks about, the might of him. There is nothing in this world, outside this world, that is like God. He's one of a kind. And what he's saying is, your enemies, the things that come against you, I'm bigger than all of that. I'm more powerful than all of that. And I'm going to hold you gently and tenderly through these situations and at these difficult times. But at the same time, I have more power than those situations and more. And that's something that I know I need to remind myself every single day. Is God is bigger than this. God is bigger than this. I have a little wooden block really lovely painted colourful wooden block on my desk, and it says God's got this. And I have it literally in front of me when I'm looking at my desk at home, because it reminds me that God is bigger than everything that I'm facing, everything that's going on in the world, everything that's going on in our community. God is bigger. And at the end of chapter 40, he links together for me power and comfort in a very famous couple of verses. When I was a little girl, I went to something called Juno's, and Juno's is just like brownies, only we wore green, but it was, pretty much the same thing. And in order to get badges, we had to memorise verses of the Bible. And this was the first one that I had to memorise to help get a badge. And it's one that I think shows the power and the comfort that God has for us. So it's starting at verse 29. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not be faint. And that's tying together the concept that we have God's power, and God is bigger, and he's in control, and because of that he can use his power, and we will soar like wings, on wings like eagles because of his power. But I think it also talks of comfort, because it talks about youths that grow tired and weary. Young men stumble and fall. It talks about he gives strength to the weary. So it's that comfort. It's that come if you're weary. Come if you're stumbling. Come if you're falling, if you feel faint. Because I will give you this power. I will comfort you, but I will give you this power. And that, therefore, gives me hope. And I said in the introduction a couple of days ago, I said, from Isaiah 40 onwards on this journey, one of the main themes is hope. And this chapter starts straight away with that. It gives me hope that God is there to comfort me, hope that he has a plan, hope that he is bigger and stronger and more powerful than anything that is going on, hope that he can lift me out of these situations and help me to fly. And I hope today, I pray today, that this message will give you hope. I pray that you would feel God's comfort and that you would know his power, and that would give you hope as you move forward in this Lent journey. Amen.